Hi guys. So today what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite mini units that I do at the beginning of every single year. And I focus heavily on constructed response with students. I think that it's really important to, oh, you can hear my dishwasher singing to me in the background. So what I really like to do is I like to have constructed response set up for students at the beginning of the year and really emphasize those skills throughout, because a constructed response essentially can translate into any kind of writing skill, but this is condensed enough that it shouldn't be as overwhelming to students as, say, a regular essay might be. Constructed response is really cool because it can spill over into a lot of real life applicable skills like writing an email. So I really enjoy doing this with students, and I created this mini unit. And I want to share with you guys all the pieces that are in it and what I use. So it comes with a printable workbook, or just like a packet, or just individual worksheets, however you want to set it up for your students. It also comes with an entire set of graphic organizers. And both of these are in printable forms as well as digital formats. So if you run a paperless classroom, this totally works for you too. So I'm going to get to the digital graphic or the graphic organizers in a minute. I'm just going to put those here for now. And I want to go through the workbook packet with you. So it comes with a cover page. The back of the cover page comes with a nice quote about writing. Start writing no matter what. The water does not flow until the faucet is turned on. And I also include lesson plans. It's a 5-day mini unit. So I include lesson plans for everything here. I also include best practices, any kind of modifications and accommodations that you might want to add. So this is the cover page for the lesson plans. And then it comes with 5 days of lesson plans included for you, with a breakdown of timing and what you could be focusing on. When I teach constructed response, I focus on using the acronym RACE, and that is what this workbook is centered around, is that acronym. So it's restate your question, answer all parts of the question, cite any evidence with emphasis on textual evidence, and then explain your answer. So that is what all of these lesson plans are structured around. This includes like a mini formative beforehand that you can have students do in order to help work with them throughout the entire week, and I will get to that in a minute. So again, 5 days of lesson plans laid out for you. Then we have a brainstorming page where you work with students and this could be like a do now, or however you want to set this up. And I encourage students to work together here. But the first day, what you want to do is you want to talk about and have students brainstorm why having writing skills are important. Not necessarily talking specifically about constructive response, but why is it important to know how to write? We always get that question from students, like, why? It's not important. Why do I need to know this skill? I'm never going to use it. Writing is something that we use every single day, all the time. So I think that it's really important that we get students to think about this. So you have a brainstorm sheet. And then the formative assessment that I designed for this is a hot topic, ban on social media, to people 18 years and younger. So we have a pro and a cons list, and you give this to students, and you have students here answer the question, should social media be banned to people 18 and under? Explain your reasoning in the space provided. So then they have that. So you make sure that they keep this, and they're going to be using this piece for revision and learning throughout the entire week. If you didn't want to do ban on social media, you could totally do any question that you want that you feel is appropriate for your students. I just know that this is a hot topic, and I know that middle schoolers and high schoolers are really interested in social media and would probably die if social media was taken away from them. Anyway, so you have that. Then we start with like an anchor chart where you focus on the different elements of race and you talk about what a constructive response is, why it's important, and then how students would use that specifically. Then it goes into the different elements of a constructive response. So you want to focus on restating the question with students. Each of these individual worksheets has a pro tip to help students, and then it also has practice. So here we're asking students to actually restate the question. For the next part, they're learning how to identify how many different parts of a question there are. So that's the practice here. They're highlighting or circling or numbering how many different parts of a question there are. And then, of course, you're having some discussion about why do we restate a question? How do you organize a response that has multiple parts? That sort of thing. Again, pro tips everywhere. Then we're citing textual evidence. Now I have textual evidence in parentheses because not all evidence is textual evidence. Although we encourage students in an academic setting to provide textual evidence, we have different kind of evidence that's available, so you don't want to limit students to just doing textual evidence. But there is an emphasis on using it. It also talks about evidence-based terms. So it gives a bunch of examples, and then you have space for students here to determine what other kind of evidence-based terms might be appropriate to show the reader where they're having evidence to show that their response is credible. We talk about plagiarism a little bit, and why it's important to cite your evidence. And then the biggest part is explaining your answer. So why are we explaining your answer? A constructive response is based on we care about what you think we don't care necessarily only about what the author says or about what this researcher says. We want to hear your own original thoughts. So, we talk about, we have students here answer a very simple question. What's your favorite food? Explaining their answer. So they're not using textual evidence, but they're able to use the 3 other parts of race in order to answer their question here. We focus on making sure that evidence is used as well. And everything that you see here comes with an answer key that I will show you in a moment. And then we have an opinion piece here. So I wrote this as a constructive response. And the question is, does texting ruin grammar? And then, so what you have students do is taking 4 different colored markers, colored pencils, highlighters, glitter, tape, I don't really care, whatever it is, but have them identify the different parts of a constructive response. So you're asking them, does the author restate the question? Does the author answer all parts of the question? Does the author use evidence? Does the author explain their evidence, and where is it located in this constructed response? So we have that piece. And then here, I'm encouraging you as a teacher to lead a group example. I think it's really important that all the students work together. You can have them do it in small groups, which you lead specifically, or have another adult in your classroom lead. But it's really good for the students to have an example of a solid constructed response. So then you go through, I have a bunch of different questions listed that I suggest that as a group, you choose which ones you want to do. So in the lesson plans, specifically, I state which questions that you want to, that you might want to ask. So you want to talk about either like, should students be allowed to play football, or should cell phones be allowed in the classroom? Whatever the question may be, and then have them answer those questions together as a group and create a really solid constructed response. And then what you're going to have students do on the second to last day is you're going to have students revise their original piece on the ban of social media. And you want them to incorporate everything that they've learned during this mini unit, and you want them to focus on including everything listed here. And then they're going to hand that into you, which you will then take a look at, and you can either grade them. It's a formative, so I'm really suggesting super low stakes if possible. but make sure that you're giving students an option and giving them feedback. This is also where the graphic organizers that I was telling you about come in. So these graphic organizers, specifically for like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th graders, if they're really struggling with organization, that's something, you know, any kind of executive functioning skills pertaining to organization or handwriting, whatever it may be, graphic organizers are super, super helpful. So I think there are like 11 or 12 different kinds of constructed response digital or graphic organizers. And they all are about the same thing, but it just gives kids an option to look through and see how they can improve their writing. So I give students this option of using these, and it is a hit. The students really, really like it, and it's super helpful to them. So I have these in a bucket in the back of my classroom, and students can go and grab them whenever they want. They also have access to them in their Google Drive. So all of this is also available. Like I said, these are also printable and digital. And then the last piece is on the final day, something that I did is I take student examples. So I write like 2 really poorly written responses to the ban on social media. And then I choose, you know, something that would be really proficient and really awesome at grade level from a student. And then I pick something that would be like above grade level or really like exceeding expectation. And I share those with the class. Obviously there is no name attached, but what you want to do is you want students to look at those responses, grade them on their own or as a class, and really think about, well, how is this a good constructed response? Is it addressing all the things that it needs to address? Is it clear? Is it organized? Is it well written? And then seeing the 4 different examples really gives students context to what each level looks like. So that is an additional piece. So like I said, this is also available as a digital. So you can use this for Microsoft and you can use this for Google. There are both of those options, as is for the graphic organizers. So if you use this in your classroom, I would love to see how you use it and how your students respond to it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. This is available in my Teachers Pay Teachers store, and I really hope that you enjoy it. It's something that I use at the beginning of every year in September, and it really, really helps the kids. What I really think particularly is cool about this is interdisciplinary, so you can really focus on working with the other teachers in your building, perhaps on your team, and making sure that students are translating these skills over into other classes. When I was working in a team environment, the other 3 teachers on my team also used this in their classroom, and students, their minds were blown that we were even talking. The other teachers were talking with one another. You know, but it was really great to get the support and everybody on the same page so that the students were translating their skills into all the other classes, really showing that these are lifelong skills, not something that you're just going to need for 8th grade, for 1 unit, whatever it may be. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I would be happy to answer them, and I look forward to sharing this with you. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.